So I said, no, you have to go to a better school. Yeah, right. So I said, okay, which is the best school? And so I did my research. That time, expert in research, we got bigger pioneers up. Oh, NJC, first school set up, I said, okay, go NJC. This was where the problem lies, because I had 17 points, I think.
17 points. What were you
1,
doing
7.
in school, man?
Hey, in those days, as grade 1, okay? Grade 1 for senior Cambridge. That means it's like, what you call, it's a lower end of a grade 1, right? So everybody else has grade 1. You need grade 1 to go to HSC, right? Or not say need, generally grade 1 stands a better chance. So I said, okay, I'm going to apply for NJC, I didn't research enough that they only took in people with 9 points, 10 points, in those days. When if you have 9 points, you guarantee in. 10 points, 11 points, they will talk to you and so on, right? I had 17. But I went, and then I was called for an interview. I tell you, at this interview, this is where I first met Mr. Lim Kim Woon, the late Mr. Lim Kim Woon. Short little boy, a short little man, yeah. And then he had his 2 heads of departments beside him. There were 2 others. I think one was the head of department of it. Was a Mr. Lim Lai Jian, and the other was a Mr. Goh Su Tian or Heng Wei Tin. Heng Wei Tin actually went on to become the Director General of MOE much later. Yeah. Anyway, they were all seated there looking at me, and then he looked at my prelim results, 17, he said. 17, he said. And you dare to apply to NJC? I was like a bit taken aback, I said, what do you mean? He said, you only take in people with 9 points and 10 points. He said, why are you trying to come in on 17 points? So I looked at him. Wow, I felt offended. That one I got a bit angry. I said, Mr. Lim, can you tell me what's the purpose of education? And then he was like taken aback. I think the first time I've been somebody, but I mean, I talked to him, I talked to Pioneers Club people, right? It's how we were trained, right? We interrogate each other, we disagree, we argue, So I said, why do you, can you tell me what's the purpose of education? Then he looked at me, you tell me what's the purpose of education. So, I mean, I was fresh from reading Bertrand Russell's book on education, because we just had that thing on during one of the Pioneers Club discussions, right? So I went into a spiel using his name, and then he was quite taken aback. He said, you read Bertrand Russell? I didn't know that was one of his favorite writers. So I looked at him, and for a moment I got a bit arrogant. I said, who doesn't? Yeah, I think he liked that. At the end of the interview, he looked at his 2 age. He said, I like this boy. He actually said, I like this boy. He said, I think we can have him in. And the both of them, okay, I mean, they nodded. And then that was it. And I got in. It was a bit, there were strengths and weaknesses in that approach. Because I tell you, it's no joke. When you are from a neighborhood school, you are sort of usually around the top 5-10% of the class. When you go at NJC, oh my God, you're the bottom 1%. Of the class. It was terrible. I mean, I really had a very bad time, yeah.
Really? It was not a good experience at NJC?
No, it was a good experience, because despite the fact that I was always at the bottom of the class, but I excelled in GP. And I think at that age, general affairs, current affairs become more important than whether why a fish has scales. You know? Yeah. So I did very well in GP. In fact, if I'm not wrong, I became the editor of the GP bulletin.
Ah,
Yeah. And Mr. Goh put me in charge of the GP notice board, where we post up articles on different issues of the world and so on. Yeah. And so that's how I got in NJC. And of course, that helped me a lot because it introduced me to a new group of friends who had different kind of thinking. And of course, I benefited from it. Uh, it. I wouldn't say it's a bad time, but it was a good time intellectually. And yeah.
yeah. It's good anyway to hear that story about Lim Kim Woon, who I always only knew as a name on the board of principals, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, okay,
The back interesting thing is this. After that, he he despite the fact that we were always arguing. In fact, I remember one time when I was in PU two, I think, going for the HSC. It was during the time of Save the Herald. There was this newspaper going on, Save the Herald campaign. And one of the students in NJC, he was very invested into this. He went around trying to raise funds to save the Herald. And I somehow got involved through another friend. So there was this group of us going around trying to raise funds. And I came across Mr. Lim and I asked him, would you like to donate, contribute to this? He told me, why are you doing this? I said, because it's the right thing to do. I believe in a free press, blah, blah, blah. Then he said, you know your A-level exams are next week? Yeah, your high school set exams are next week, and
yeah.
you're still doing this? I said, I have 8 hours, I have 24 hours. And he let me, go and study. Do well, go and get a good certificate, he told me. You know? And then he didn't contribute. Yeah. But he knew that was what. And later when he became principal of NATI, the National Youth Leadership Training Institute, I tell you, that was wonderful. I was then doing breakthrough. I was then in university and doing this magazine called Breakthrough to greater social awareness. I approached him because he was a principal. I said, can you help me to distribute this, to sell this into National Youth Leadership Institute to the people who come by? He said, let me look at it. He looked at it. He said, I think it's a good magazine. He said, okay, I'll distribute it. And he distributed it. Much later, when I met him, um, this was just another coincidence that I met him. He told me, he said he suffered a personal because of that. He was admonished for circulating that magazine in NYLT. Yeah, cost him some brownie points.
And what did you? How did you reply to that?
I look at him. I say, I don't think you are affected by it. And he agreed. I tell you, this man is, I disagree with him on many things. I think some things he did wrong. But one thing I will always about him is that he was a man of such great integrity, believing in what is right and you know, and doing what is right, rather than what is politically correct.